Hello everybody. Last week I published a video where I put this fish in mini pieces back together, and this video is from where that one leaves off to the whole entire prep job, all the way to actually putting the fish onto a wall here in my office. So anyways, enjoy the video, and it'll start out with the last clip, a part of the last clip from the first video, and on we go. To get you up to speed, this is the last part of the last video, the first video. Okay, that was a lot of work getting this rock together, put onto a backer board and filling the cracks between the backer board and the rock. It's now ready for actual and true prep. I've got the ME9100 and the Super Jack, both from Paleo Tools. Those are the basic tools I'm going to use for prepping this. I'm going to start by taking off the weird stuff that I glued on top of the fish. I've got two different glues, some thin set cyanoacrylate and some Gliptol, both very water thin. I've got a little cup for my Gliptol thing, two little brushes in case I have to add glue for that, and I'm going to get to work. See if this thing's working. And of course I don't have the valve on. First I will tack this little piece here I glued on. There was a divot there in the backbone, so I'm going to see how that's going to turn out. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit, and then now on to the next piece. Now to take this piece of rock off. That's higher than anything else on this whole slab. Give this a dusting. Gotta try to remember not to move that, because then it might go out of frame. Anyways, I'm gonna start taking that off. Okay, made small work of that. Now that's the same level basically as everything else. I'm going to shoot down here to this tail end and take this rock off. If I remember correctly, that had a fish laying right on top of it. Took a layer of rock off, and there's that fish that's laying right on top of this fish. Much smaller fish, but that's just little backbone there, so we're going to have to throw that aside. Now you can begin to see the transfer of the fossil. The bones from this bottom fish here are right here, which was on this rock, which is why I put it on. Plus, there's some tail bones there too. But just slow and easy, and as long as you put enough glue on there, you shouldn't miss too much. Shouldn't lose too much, I should say. So, back to work. Now, I don't know if you can see that or not, but that backbone is what I'm transferring, and it looks very fragile with that crack in there, so I'm going to take some Gliptol and just soak that in. Hopefully that won't vibrate off. I don't think it will. Alright, back to work! That's actually a pretty good bone transfer. There's a little area here where when this piece of rock split off and took bone with it, it's not always perfect, so you don't know how much bone is going to be missing. But you can see, I don't know if you can see that or not, there's some missing here, there's some missing there, little piece. But not too bad overall. So you can easily see it's actually very much worth doing. So, okay, back to work. And there you have it. There's some bone transfer. This is what I transferred from here to here. You can see that line. From this line here is where they put two pieces and glue them together, and somehow the glue was kind of messed up, but I can clean that up, and I'll clean it up with a finer tool later. So, that's down. Now, I'm going to, let me show you if I can. Right there. There's a anal fin, dorsal fin. Geez, how can I not remember that? Well, anyways, if I take this down a little bit, I should be able to find that fin. So that's my next project. And there's the beginning of that fin. Good morning, everybody. Here's the head of this fish. So it's going to be interesting to see how far I get today. I'm not hurting too bad today, so I might be able to take all of this off and expose that head. Okay, very carefully, I'm going to take off some rock here. I'll give it dust off first. I gotta be careful with this machine that I don't go on the out past the edges of the outline of the fish. This takes off rock much faster than that tool. Why you gotta be careful. You make a mistake with this one, it could be a big mistake. Anyways, I'm gonna get to work taking off the top of this rock. you can see how the rock changes color all of a sudden right there to darker, much darker rock. That rock is pretty hard. That's going to be hard on the tip. Very hard on the tip. So that's all I do to keep going until I get to the outline of the fish, and I'll do that to the whole bloody fish. Putting all these rocks that came off, you can see how this piece of, looks like maybe operculum. Operculum? Geez, I don't know. The gill plate. That is missing. I can rebuild it, but you know, you don't want to have to, but still, I'm being able to save what I can. And back to work. And that's where I stop. Take a little bit of glue. Too much glue, but such a small area. I'm just trying to save what I can. Oh, Jesus. I gotta get a new bottle of accelerator. That one sucks. Alright, later. You got this glue joint. This one. That one. This one. This one. Oh, it's where these pieces have been glued together, that gets a little tricky. If I ever said anything about fighting glue, it can be a pain in the... It literally holds everything into place, really. But you just have to work at it. If you work at it, a little persistence and determination, by golly, you can prep it. Also, you're going to see there's going to be some fixing here. That more damage than I had anticipated here. But with the miracles of putties and the coloring of putties, that will look not too bad when I'm done. Right now, it looks absolutely freaking horrible. But part of the job, part of the process. I was taking this piece off, and these pieces started to move. So I took them off and realized there's fish stuff on there, and that's part of that concrete patch. So if I can glue these back into place, there's not much bone there, but if I can save it, at least there's less to repair, right? You say, rad. I'm just going to drown that in glue. So, there's that one. And then there's that one. Now I don't want to touch that for at least till tomorrow or the next day. Okay, so, but I can still come around here and finish up this stuff and then finish that up later. Oh boy. Well, I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's little tiny teeth right there. This is the upper jaw. This is the lower jaw. The lower jaw apparently been pushed up. But still, finding teeth, that's pretty cool. I remember having problems putting this section onto this rock, this section here, onto this bigger piece of rock. So I'm hoping that this jaw flows right into this rock without being a misstep where I glued the two pieces together. So fingers crossed on that one. Okay. Cross your fingers, folks. I thought I'd show you this. I'm quite nervous, that's for sure. Ah, I just missed that. I just lost that piece right there. It just went flying. Damn it. I did lose a tiny piece of bone, but the alignment turned out to be perfect. Okay, I've got a bunch of glue right here to hold that bone together. It was wanting to explode on me. I've got a bunch of glue here so it doesn't explode. And of course you remember those, so I'm going to just leave this alone, this head area alone tomorrow and start working on more of this other stuff. Right here. Then I'll just follow that line. Don't hit the fish, Ronald. That saved me a little bit of time. Now I'm going to switch over to this and clean that up quite nicely. And there's a fin here somewhere. I'll find it. Okay, I took a bunch of rock off here. I could tell it was hollow here, so I knew I didn't have enough glue underneath this whole piece of rock here, which was only this thick, that set on top here. I think there's a fin in there somewhere. I think it's right here, but I didn't put enough glue over here, so I put a bunch of glue there, and I'm just gonna let this fish is gonna sit here till tomorrow or the next day, whenever. But man, that's a big fish. Jesus criminies, it's at least 2 feet long. Now back to the head area. All right, 2 hours later, and I looked at the whole size of this fish. I thought, that can't be that thin of a jaw, so I started taking down more rock and finding the rest of the jaw, which now makes more sense. So 2 hours later and I'm still right here, but hey, that's what it takes. That's what it takes. I got at least another hour or two to finish this up. I don't know how far that goes, but it's gotta go farther than that. It can't be that little tiny jaw. It's gotta be farther. One problem is I'm running out of rock. And this guy is great for blowing dust and chips off. Anyways, that's pretty much the head area. You can see how much work I'm going to have to make that look a presentable wall hanging worth. Alright, now I'm going to go find some fins. Which ones am I looking for? Jeez, I don't know. I'm going to go for the one over that way. Okay, the head's way up this way. Somewhere here, looks like there's something going on here. I don't know if there's one fin or two fin here. Two fin? How about two fins? Plural. Alright, I'm going to take more rock off here. See what I can find. I have a little bit more to clean up here for this pectoral fin. Pectoral fin? I think that's what it is. Alright. Get ready to start removing some rock here. Fish wasn't so bloody big. This wouldn't take long, but taking off a little bit of rock each time for each pass, it's time-consuming stuff. And this, like I told you yesterday, this stuff which is lighter rock turns into darker rock. That is really hard. I think I've only sharpened it once so far, so not too bad. Alright, back to work. Okay, I got this fin here. Not much of a fin, but it's a fin. And then I'm looking for bones that come off of these upper bones, which are right here. So these have to go to the fin. I think that fin's here. I just don't remember. I'm not seeing any marks like up here, because I know there's a... well, I already found that one. Okay, so I'm going to take off more rock right here, and I should find the beginning of this, I'm assuming an anal fin. Okay. I don't know if you can see that in the camera or not, these 4 little balls of bone, which are the beginnings of the fin. But even though this paste has been added on, this stuff is gone. There should be little balls of bone that are like the joints of where that fin begins, and they're just half gone, and nothing I can do about it. So disappointing, but at least they're there. Just the beginning parts are gone, which they're hard to save in the first place on these particular fish. Well, not these particular fish, but what I mean is these fish, the way they're fossilized from Lebanon. So I've stopped here. I got a little bit more to uncover, but this piece over here is kind of loose, so I put some glue in there. I'm going to let that cure up, and now I'll go find the dorsal. Already found it, but let me grab this tool, which is absolutely fantastic. I've already found the dorsal. I just got to expose it. That's all. That should be a nice fin, I hope. Fingers crossed. Oh, back up so you can see it. Get a load of that. That's going to be a very nice dorsal, as long as I got the ends of them. It might be a little tricky, but hoping I'm not missing it down there. Boy, this broken up rock is really tough to work with. So much stuff that I'm going to have to fix. Now you can see this is where this piece was glued on, right there, right there. At least that's a good fit right there. At least most of it is. So hopefully the fins are there, but I can't tell if it's going to go that far or not. If it goes that far, I'm in trouble. There's going to be lots of stuff to have I'm going to have to fix. Just like that, easy peasy. Of course, easy peasy for an hour or two to do that. Right there, that whole thing just popped off. Look at that, look at that. Holy moly. I wonder if that'll happen again. A little bit of glue to fight, but man, get a load of that! Whew! Son of a gun! And now on to the tail. Look at that. I just took that, well, came off in several chunks, but that came off extremely nice. I mean extremely nice. So this may not take me more than half an hour. Of course, I say that now. See if I can do that again in front of your eyeballs. being really stupid, or oh, that's scary stuff. Oh man, get a load of that, get a load of that. Lost little teeny tiny shards of bone there. Not much, not bad. That's pretty good, considering. I'm going to put a little bit of glue there because things can absolutely blow up even though things are looking good. Whew, that was scary though. I thought I'd get the very edge of this tail and then just follow the whole thing out. Beautifully. So I've been working on the tail. The top part came out really nice. The bottom part's a little softer, falling apart a little bit, and having to stop and glue every little piece. There's supposed to be a coccodus right here, and I can see a little piece of bone right there. So I'm going to see what I have, and I hope there's something there, because if it's just a piece of a fish, it's going to look terrible. Oh well. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. So far, nothing. This end over here where the bones are bigger, they get really soft, so I take off a little tiny bit and I add glue. Otherwise the whole thing would just start flaking off. So that's what I do, a little bit at a time until I get to the end of the tail. How's that for a tail? Holy kermoly. Now I can see where the tail's at. Let's put that at the nose of the fish. It's a little over 22 inches. I could have sworn it was 2 feet. That's a nice tail for a piece of crap. That's the way it goes, I guess. Oh well, I'm liking it. Okay, I'm going to take the big chisel tool, the Super Jack from Paleo Tools, and I'm going to take all this, well not all this rock, but most of this rock back down, get rid of all these other scribe marks, take it back in a couple places, like from here to here, a little bit more than other areas. Some areas like this one and this one I won't hit until I add putty to these areas. And hopefully by tomorrow I can have this all smoothed out and this thing will be ready for crack filling. I hope. I had a lot of work to get this far. Okay. what I simply do is that, and that's a whole lot easier to grind than that. So that's what I'm going to do pretty much all the way around this fish. So I got to get my you-know-what to work. Got my gloves on for doing this, mixing this putty. I take equal amounts of part A. I'll help get some light over here. Some part A and part B. I'm going to color it with this. It's called Tan Buck. It should bring this grayish putty around to this color of rock, or at least kind of. I've got some water, some applicator tools, putty knife in case I need it. All I do is just mix this together, but it takes a lot of mixing. So there's my putty. I'm not sure if I like that. Still looks a bit grayish. Oh God, I hate that. Alright, I'll be back. There's the color I had. I hate to throw putty away, but that was just too dark. This one's much lighter, much better. Still not perfect, far from perfect. But this rock goes underneath here. So what I'm going to do is just fill that in. Pressing quite hard. A little bit over here too for good luck. Now that still looks too dark, but once I tool that, that will lighten up. So I'm only a little bit worried. And then, I don't know if you can see this or not, a spot over here. We still can't see that. Spot right there. Okay, those are the worst two spots. Now then, maybe to lighten that up a bit and do some crack filling, because I do have me Leb dust, which is nothing but Lebanese rock that I've turned to dust that I press into cracks when need be. Okay, it's been a couple weeks, I think. I waited for my son to cut this rock. We cut off probably 4 inches. There was a fish here. There's not much left. It was just a piece of junk. So what I have to do now is clean up this crack here so that it can hold the concrete patch, and I'm simply going to use a diamond blade, simply because I have it. Just like that. Now I'll fill out some concrete patch. Well, I'll dust it out first for good. Fill up the concrete patch. And once it's dry, I'll grind those edges again. Actually, these are done, so I'll grind this edge again. And this baby will be ready. I can get back to work on it. Yeah, that's the ticket. I forgot Before I add this concrete patch, I've got to put in some missing pieces. Like too much glue. What do you do? Jesus. Always something. This piece is actually missing some pieces, but I don't know if you can see that or not with all that silicone in there, and you know, not much sticks to silicone. Actually, lots of stuff sticks to silicone except for paint. So what I'm going to do is take a couple screws and simply drill them into that silicone, and then the concrete patch will go underneath those heads, these screw heads here, and hopefully that won't fall out. I don't think it will. Anyways, now I can fill it with concrete patch. Concrete patch. I mix this a little bit thicker. You can mix this stuff as thick or as thin as you want. Gotta say, that's pretty thick, but that's okay. I don't care. Why should I care? I brought the concrete patch all the way up here because of that piece. So what I got to clean up later on, I don't know, but at least it'll be filled. I don't think you can see that with that camera angle, but I can guarantee you I'm doing a wonderful job. Yes, just wonderful. And professional. I've never considered myself a professional. And when people started calling me that back in the 90s, I don't know. I just do what I do and I have fun. Anyways, ta-da! There you go. It's been sitting for about 3 weeks. Went on to other things. But you can see how god-awful the color of this putty is. And I thought I would just dig it out with the air scribe and start over. But being it's already there, holding this rock into place, I'm going to finish doing this, air scribing with the big chisel tip, and clean up those areas and go on and probably redo that. Crying out loud. Looking better already, but man, I have got a lot of cracks to take care of. So today is crack repair. Okay, first batch I've applied. I'm not happy with it, but it's a whole lot better than that ugly gray that was on there. So I dug this part out over here. I don't know if you can see that or not. And I dug something out right here, and I'm going to now try 2 parts A and B of milliput I don't know why this stuff is so sticky, but it wasn't sticky before. And 2 parts of A and B of this antler sculpt. Gonna mix it all together. That gray stuff will give me the dark that I need. And then I've got some raw sienna powder and some tan buck powder. I'm going to add to that, and that should bring it around to the color of this rock, I hope. I'll find out here in a bit. Anyways, this mixing takes a while. I'll be back. Alright, that last batch was 2 parts of milliput and 2 parts of antler sculpt. Now I'm using more antler sculpt to less milliput. That white lightens the gray, and then I can, I don't know, hopefully color it better. Oh, that was just full of glue, cyanoacrylate super glue stuff. So all I was simply doing was digging it out with the ME9100 with that pointed tip, dug it out. I'm going to wash that with some water and let it dry, and then I can fill that in, and then the putty will actually stick, or stick a whole heck of a lot better. Make sure you press that stuff in there really, really good. Then I wet the tools with water. Wet it again. Water does not hurt this stuff. Okay, then these kitchen scouring brushes or scrub pads aren't near as tough as they used to be. They do start falling apart on you pretty easy. But I simply, what I'm basically doing is like I'm sanding it, really, kinda. And then take a like so, and then me lab dust. This is just some pieces of rock I put in the mortise and pestle thing and simply crunched it up, turned it into a powder. This won't be perfect, but you'll see tomorrow or the next day or whenever I start cleaning this up, because when you do this it looks terrible. I mean terrible. So as you can plainly see, that looks like a piece of junk right now. That's how I do it. No matter what though, just filling the cracks, even if you were to fill it with just white stuff, at least it's not a dark crack. But anyways, oh, I've got one more to do over there. Alright, the morning I've been dreading. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with this area right here where these skull bones are, I don't know what's going on, because there's some rock here that doesn't belong there, but it's holding up this little tiny thin piece of skull bone, so I don't know if I'm going to sacrifice that or not. But this has got to be fixed. Then it's just a matter of doing the cracks through the fish and then attack this skull. And this skull scares me because of all these different mottled colors, from the darkish, not darkish red, orangish, brownish, whatever, to pinky whites. It's going to be tough. That's going to, we'll just see what happens. Anyways, I'm going to attack this first. Fill up all these things through the fish, and then hopefully start smoothing out this rock around the fish, and then it's almost done. But that's a long ways away. So what I'm going to start off by doing is taking this thing, alright, go for water. That looks a little bit better. Yeah, still not liking that. Ugh. Well, the decision was made for me, really. I started going through here a little bit deeper, and this whole thing just flew out in pieces in an instant. So at least I can see the edge of that skull there. I'll just fill that in with some 2-part putty, so you won't see that, and it's, God, no one's gonna know except everybody watching. Alright, well, okay, back to work! Okay, you can easily see this crack going all the way through the fish, and there's one back here. Not as bad as that, but bad enough. Anyways, I've got 2 balls, part A and part B, of what's called milliput putty. I'll mix those together. These are epoxy putties, and this is the antler sculpt, which mixed up, as you can easily tell, is gray. You can see how there's white and light grays, and if I have to lighten up the gray, I'll use some of the white, mix it together, and then just somehow put that in there. Where it's whiter, use the whiter stuff, and when it's grayer, I use the grayer stuff. Somehow get it all together, and it shouldn't look too bad. If I have to, I'll lightly paint in a couple of ribs right over that, just to kind of help hide it, with some acrylics. So I'm going to mix these up and get to work, and I'll show you when I get there. So 2 gray. So what I did is I mixed up some dark brown and a little smidgen of black to darken that up. And now I'm just going to add some of that. To that gray, at least in the dark areas. Like so. You just gotta mess with it until you're happy, or hopefully happy. And then to tone that down a bit, I take a scrubber, a kitchen scrubber, and I cut it into little squares. And then you gotta be a little bit careful. Still not happy with that, but it's coming around. You can always dig it out and start over, but that's a job in itself. So maybe a little bit of weight. And remember, I still got my acrylics to add, which will not be much. And these are just some really teeny tiny pieces going in. And that's what you do. I'll show you when I'm done. Alright, I'm not happy with it, but God, am I ever happy with it? Once that dries, because it changes a little bit of color, stuff usually darkens up, so it's going to be iffy when that dries. But a little bit of acrylic work, that might just about disappear. Same with the backside, which I haven't shown you. I just filled that in with some colored putty. Once I sand all that, that should just blend right in. But now I gotta fix all of this mess. This is what I'm really afraid of. So it's gonna take a while. I gotta mix up a bunch of different colors of putty and have my colorants ready, so when I don't like something I can add a little of this or take off a little bit of that or add those two together, or whatever. But even filling this is gonna make it look better than these god-awful cracks. Okay, wish me the best of luck. I'm scared. I was looking at this little, I don't know, pectoral fin, I guess, maybe. And so I realized it was going underneath the rock. It took a dive, so it kind of threw me off, but I gotta expose that. Plus, by doing this, then I avoid having to work on this skull. Whoops. Okay, not plugged in. Got too many air tools. Pick one up that's not even plugged into the air line. Now I gotta switch back to that tool and remove some more of that because it's so much faster than this guy. Until I get to the very tips of these things, which I can't tell if I'm close or not. But I gotta be closer! Just like that, easy peasy. I gotta change tools again. On my regular prep bench over there where I've got 6 different hookups, I can just pick up a tool and go, but here I've just got one airline, so it's constant changing when you need to go back and forth. But one's got to do what you got to do. Yeah, that's broken for sure. It's like this back anal, well, not anal fin, caudal fin. Gosh, it's like a crab. Too many parts. Okay, but at least that's gonna look better. Okay, I'm going to attack the skull. Over here are all the colors I think I'm going to need or use. All the different masonry powders. And then here I've got 2 and 2, part A, part B. Gonna mix up. I'm gonna start off with 2 different colors and go from there. And I'll probably end up with 4 or 5, just slight differences, just to try to make that blend in at least as good as I can do. So fingers crossed. Whoops. Where's what I'm working on here? Right there. So you can see how god awful that looks, and you can see how this gill plate cover or whatever it is, I gotta try to make sure that this comes around just like so. Alright, I'm just gonna shut up and do it. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, that was tough. I ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different colors, 8 different colors, 9 different colors. Jesus. And I just kept playing with it, moving it around, carving it, and adding, and taking some away, and starting over, and it's a mess. But at least, I mean, seriously, does that look better than it did? Even though I'm not happy with it. Alright, now I'm going to start working on cleaning up these edges, except for this edge right here, because that's got to cure, and I got to clean up this edge. I got all kinds of stuff to do. Back to work! Oh, that's going to kill my arm for tonight. Maybe as you get older, you start wearing out. That's the way it goes, I guess. Maybe if I had a different hobby like stamp collecting or something instead of working with stupid rocks. And then I'm going to take the toothbrush stuff here, clean off the stuff from the fish with a little more gentle, not so aggressive. And then do a little towel dry, speed things up a bit. When the rock gets wet, the stuff stays the same color. The rock darkens up because of the water. And as it dries, then you can see what's going on. And of course, there's always speed dry. Well, I'm going to give that about a half hour or so it gets really dry, and then I'll know what to do with some of these cracks. Boy, I wish every crack was like that. That one came out so nice. Jeez. Alright. Okay, you can plainly see that putty was way too dark, where this putty was, geez, that was dang near perfect. So, I've got this super fine file-like thing. I'm simply going to tool that, and it should lighten it up. Those are both the same. So all I'm doing is scratching it in a kind of a even way. And that looks better already. So some of these are not too good, and some of them are pretty good, and there's one that's dang near perfect. Wish they were all that way, but the way it goes. This one way over here, I don't know if you can see it or not. This one way over there is horrible. Not sure what to do with that. I might add some color to that. We'll see. So, anyways. Now then, I've still got to hit this edge because this is where I cut it off. I've got some concrete patch there. It's rougher than a corn cob there. So I'm going to do that last thing because it's going to get so dusty in here. So that's the last thing I'm going to do. And then I'm going to vacate the premises. But I think I can work on some of these edges here, start cleaning up this stuff. So let me set up for that. So way over there, I got my Fordham set up. Got a aluminum oxide wheel from, I'm sure it's from China. That's a pretty cheap one. I'm not sure if that's going to work or not. And if not, I've got my barrel sanders. We got one set up with a 50 grit or 60 grit, whatever it might be, and I got one set up with a 120 grit. So the thing is, if you can smooth all around your fish or whatever you're working on, it's gonna make your specimen pop, stand out. So make sure you're wearing your dust mask for this. This is an old one, so it's a hand. Turn it on with the hand. I've got clamps here, so this thing cannot fall over. I'll bring it up just a little bit so I can put a little angle on that baby. And my optimizer. Get a load of that. And I do go all the way around with that. I'll clean that up with some nice beautiful 120, and that should look pretty dang nice. But I got a long ways to go. Certain areas I can't do. Areas like the front of the mouth where it's getting really tight, or around these tail ends. I don't know if you can see that or not in the camera. The tail ends, really tight areas, hard to get, but I've got other tools I can show you how I do that. I can see now, looking at this fish, that the angle is wrong in some areas, but I want this angle to be pretty much the same around the entire fish. So I have got work to do. Back to work. Okay, once I get to this part, which is, let me see here, let me get I'll straighten that out a little bit with my air scrub. I'll show you a bit here in a bit, but I'm going to finish this up first. I got a whole big pile of stuff here to go take off. Okay, just zooming along here, even though that's taking probably half an hour. And then this here simply going to just shape that, so I don't have to fight it till later. I'll do it with a smaller tool, but now I got to figure out, since I've only got so much cord here, I might be able to do that, I don't know. So I might have to move that grinder, I don't know. I've never done a fish this big on all these edges. This is freaking huge from what I'm used to. And there's some putty here you can see. I wish it was darker. Talk about living and learning. Now I realize this stuff up here is too light, but that's the way it is. For these little tighter areas, like in front of the snout and the forks of the tail. I take, oops, show the light. I take the aluminum oxide wheel off, put on a 1/4-inch sanding barrel, and you can see how that's even probably still too big, but that's just as small as I've got without going to the really teeny tiny stuff. You can see that cleans it up pretty good. I got a little ways to go, and then those bigger scratches will be gone after I take off this super gritty stuff and put on, oh, that's not even a finer one. I've got a finer one too, so it's just a process of just doing more and more and finer and now for a little edge cleanup with the ME9100. You can see that putty right there. Shouldn't be there. Like that. Okay, I've got the whiner, very small little tool. Not the smallest I've got, pretty small. Here's the lower jaw, here's the upper jaw, and there's a bunch of teeth in here. If I can get them exposed, there's some right here. Actually, let me zoom in. Maybe you'll be able to see that. I don't know. Right there, you can see some teeth. But I'm going to see if I can expose some from in here. So, wish me luck. was tough. There are some teeth in there, but man, that's tough. They're just too bloody ass small. I'm sorry. Alright, I'm going to finish up these edges and I'm going to sauce up this fish with my fossil sauce and call this good. Put a hanger on it. Okay, I've got my Glypto. It's a lacquer cement. I've loved it ever since for 33 years. Got my little shot glass I put it in. I've got 3 different sizes of brushes. I start by doing the head, then I go down the backbone and do either bottom or top, and then I do the other side, bottom or top, whichever side I didn't do, and then I do the fins, and voila, this baby will be done. So all I do, well, let's get that off the fish. Jesus, Ronald, not too smart. I never claimed to be the smartest man, just the hungriest. Yeah, I've been cutting out on the carbs. Whew, that's rough. Week number 2. Okay, I think I'll use this smaller brush, and I'm gonna get me a little cloth just in case, and then all I do is this will hold absolutely everything together. Yes, together. Yes, it will. Guess if I had more light over here, we could see what the heck I'm doing. This kind of makes it pop too. And how you like that carve? I carved that, yeah, me. That's pretty cool, I think. Anyways, I'll show you when I'm done. Here's a French cleat I gotta cut and install one to the back, one to the wall, be able to hang this thing. And there's the fish. A little over 22 inches, pretty large fish. Was in lots of pieces. I'm gonna say it's a $4,000 or $5,000 fish for I got for pretty cheap. Well, not cheap enough, but look at that. It's gonna be hanging on the wall. I'll be looking at it every single morning when I'm having my coffee. Woohoo! Yeah! Ta-da! There she be. Okay, everybody. Not only is that another project done, but it's out of the garage into the house and actually hanging on a wall right up there, which you can't see. I hope you guys all enjoyed that. I've got some more coming this summer. some more projects that should put that one to shame. And I've got one that should be out in about a month, and it's a big fish. It's a big fish. So, anyways, till next one.